It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, rise and shine. You're on with It's Do Time with Pastor Steph, featuring your girl this morning, Shontyce. Yes, it's me again. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you? For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. We are back again for another morning. Are you excited? I'm excited. Yesterday morning, where were you all week? All week. Monday, we had Shaking the Monday Morning Blues. Tuesday, we had Let's Talk About a Church Folk Day. And Tuesday, the questions that Pastor Steph had for the Do Time crew pastors. The first question was, should Christian parents be okay with their children having imaginary friends? That was an interesting question. We got some good feedback. The second question was, should Christian parents be okay with their children masturbating? And then she went a little deeper and asked the panel, the pastors, so if a parent came up to you and said, this is what my child is doing, engaging in, so on and so forth. Should I leave them alone? Should I say something? Should I do something? Should I stop them? Should I let them go on? What would be your advice? If you weren't there Tuesday morning, you have to make sure you go back and listen, because those are not questions that are addressed in the every week church, the everyday church, and we need to talk about these things. They're not brought up enough. They're not spoken on enough. It's so much easier for the church to just say it's evil, don't do it. But why is it evil? God is a thorough God. He explains everything. So as pastors, the answer is provided and given. They just have to make sure they take the time to give and provide the answers. Wednesday, it was Wow Wednesday with Vivian bringing us the socially conscious news, and she brought up the ICE agents who, in the red states, they're acting one way, but in the blue states, they're acting a completely different way. Now, y'all know the red and blue state scenario thing. Red states are in support of Trump. Blue states are not in support of Trump. So in the red states, Trump seems to tell the ICE agents to be a little more lenient in their actions, in their duties, versus the blue states. Surprised? Shouldn't be, because I'm not. Definitely not. Okay, she also brought us how they plan on cutting child care funds. Like, if you listen to previous Socially Conscious, Vivian also brought up how college tuition is a lot more affordable nowadays than childcare, which is ridiculous, because we all know whether you're going to a four-year university or a community college, it's expensive. And to think that that's still less than the price of childcare, do we still want to be out here popping out these kids? Because when we ain't got it and we have to be okay with going to bed with a bag of chips on our stomach, then we good. But when we have a little mouth to feed and their body is saying, I'm hungry, and they're not afraid to tell you, I'm hungry, a bag of chips is not going to cut it. It's not going to do it. So we're going to have to make sure that we're being strategic, we're being smart, we're following the plan God has for us, because the way the laws and everything is being set up out here and revamped, and it's not really working in our favor. And one of the viewers commented and brought up how, in the red states, they're not paying as many taxes as the residents in the blue states. Surprised? Not at all. Absolutely not at all. Okay. Yesterday, Therapeutic Thursday. Thursday, we speak about everything health-wise, mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. And oh my goodness, we started with spiritual health tips. We started with the definitions, the world's definition of spiritual health. versus God's definition of spiritual health. And of course, God's definition always reigns, because what God said is really is. And we went over a few health tips. Were y'all on? Do you remember? Overcoming temptation, making sure you're in alignment with God's will for your life. I'm not going to give any more because you have to go back and make sure that you watch. If you were watching, I hope you took your notes, because those were some really, really good, thought-provoking, initiative-taking health tips, spiritual health tips that God was giving us yesterday morning. And did I end up walking right into one of the health tips? And this is, Pastor Steph brings us up all the time, especially when we're in church. It's like God is giving us the information now, because before the day is over, before Sabbath is over, we are facing that situation, that lesson, where we now have to apply what God is giving us. And I don't know how good I did. I mean, I think I ain't doing that good, but I thank God for him bringing back to my remembrance, like, hello, we just went over this morning. So it's not enough that we just read it. It's not enough that we just know it. If we're not applying God's word, God's tips, what's the point in reading? What's the point in knowing it? Makes no sense. Okay, we had a few news. We had one update and some news content yesterday morning. We started with the 61-year-old man who kicked the 57-year-old woman down the flight of subway stairs, hit her over the head with a hammer 13 times, stole her tote bag, and ran. And between the two articles, one article said she was walking with a cane. The other article said he was walking with a cane. Somebody had a cane. I hope it wasn't him. I really hope it wasn't him. But now he's serving 25 years to life because of that. And she was able to confront him in court and ask her rhetorical questions. And she says that despite the incident, she still takes the subways to and from work every day. Due time flew waiting that and what they thought about, despite that almost fatality, you're still on the subways. Okay, then you had the 14-year-old by the name of Angel, who unfortunately died, suffered stab wounds to his abdomen area after telling his parents he'd be back. He was just going to go and hang out in the park with some peoples and never made it back home. So they arrested 4 teenagers. They didn't state which teenager did the actual stabbing, but unfortunately they're now in custody and they're going to have to face whatever trial and sentencing. We then spoke about this Legionnaire's disease. Y'all heard about that? Because yesterday was my first time hearing about it, but after reading what it was about. So the Legionnaire's disease, it is bacteria. So anytime you're in a facility, a building that has the cooling systems, the AC, the central air, and water is needed in order to keep this system going, it then shoots out this Legionnaire's, the bacteria. And when you inhale it, you now have this in your system. The Legionnaire's disease is pneumonia. So you get pneumonia like symptoms, no, flu-like symptoms. And it's the pneumonia. And it really had me thinking, because like I said yesterday morning, there is a child that I know who all of a sudden just has pneumonia. And it's like, wait, what? And especially in the summertime. But they're at camp. These camps have these central air systems, so we have to make sure that we're praying and asking God to bless the air that we're breathing. I used to infuse that into my prayer every morning, and I stopped, and we're going to have to start back up because we have no idea what God is protecting us from, protecting our children from. So this actually was mainly centered in Central Harlem. So they're saying in that area there have been some fatalities, unfortunately, and they are just putting everyone on alert. So if you're in the Central Harlem area, please be careful. Please pay attention to your body. If you're noticing they're saying fever and cough are the 2 top symptoms you need to be on alert for. Okay. All right. We ended our news with the update about the officer. Remember the one who was in Vegas and he drove from Vegas to New York City to shoot it up? he still had his carrier's license for his weapon, despite his mother making several 911 calls, telling dispatchers that he's suicidal, the note that he wrote, how he's been diagnosed with bipolar and anxiety and depression, and he went to go collect his winnings at a casino in Vegas, and the cops had to come on scene because he didn't want to give his name and or ID. Like, but yet he was still able to obtain this license to carry a weapon. So the powers that be have been failing big time, big time, ridiculously. And because they were not on point, unfortunately, you have a few people who passed and a few people who had to experience that. And we ended up, while speaking on some of these, well, mainly the story about the 14-year-old who passed due to the stabbing in the park, the big fight that broke out in the park, and he got stabbed and died. It came up in conversing about that, how social media is the devil. And the Due Time crew indulge in that conversation a little. Is social media healthy or unhealthy for our spiritual growth? So, if you missed it, you must make sure you go back and watch, because these conversations throughout this week, I mean, every week is good, but specifically throughout this week, were really, really thought provoking. And we really have to make sure that we're taking heed to the things that God is allowing to come up and to come out. And a lot of times, even if we're saying something wrong, He will allow it to come out so that we can be corrected. Make sure that you're not afraid to be corrected. Okay, but today is Freestyle Friday, where we do whatever we want, and Freestyle Friday has been designated as Men's Day. So the Due Time crew the men will be dominating this morning, and we highlight celebrity news, celebrity tips, celebrity trivia. So I cannot wait to get into what we have for this morning and hear from our men. But make sure you go text a friend, to DM a friend, to call a friend, to tell a friend that It's Due Time with Pastor Steph is on this morning, featuring me, Shontyce. Pastor Steph is still away relaxing and getting her, absorbing all of the information that God has for her at this annual conference that she attends. And I spoke to her last night, and she says that it is phenomenal. So we're giving God thanks that she is not afraid to go before the Lord and still be fed, as He is teaching her how to feed us. Okay, so make sure you go grab that coffee. Make sure you eat, whether it's coffee, tea, get that healthy breakfast snack. Again, make sure you tell a friend. Don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
Food for your gut is French fries. The best food for your gut is oregano. The worst food for your cell is processed meat. The best food for your cell is soursop. The worst food for your immune system is sugar. The best food for your immune system is black seed oil. The worst food for your thyroid is soy. The best food for your thyroid is sea moss. The worst food for your stress is energy drinks. The best food for your stress is ashwagandha. The worst food for your skin is artificial sweeteners. The best food for your skin is chlorophyll. The worst food for your energy is white bread. The best food for your energy is moringa. Instead of doing something extremely expensive, I recommend a holistic approach with all natural ingredients. This is Wixen all-in-one formula. It has soursop, black seed oil, sea moss, ashwagandha, chlorophyll, moringa, oregano, and turmeric. And it has 92 out of the 102 minerals that our body needs. Most people don't realize that ashwagandha has 14,000 times more adaptogenic power than green tea. Moringa enhances relaxation 100 times more effectively than chamomile.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Did you guys pay attention to that PSA? Pastor Steph has had this on rotation for a few months now, and it was just really important that we got those healthy food tips again, because I was one who, my eating habits are not the best. I'm really working on becoming a lot more disciplined, but fries were definitely my quick go-to throughout the day. While I'm working, I need to eat, or I suddenly feel hungry. Let me go fry these French fries real quick, until I heard this. So this just jacked up my whole flow with getting my in-between day snack. But you know what? God always provides what we need, so I'm not mad. I'm not mad. A little bit, because now, as long as you prep, you have it. Because sometimes it's a lot easier and quicker to go grab the unhealthy snacks than the healthy snacks. But nonetheless, I hope you were taking notes, not only mental notes, because sometimes, especially when you're hungry and y'all go hungry shopping, that's dangerous. When you're shopping while you're hungry, it's like going to a restaurant like really, really hungry. Not the best thing to do. So we have to make sure that we're paying attention to these tips. But while we're paying attention to these health tips, let's check to see who is in the room with us this morning. Good morning, Ketty. How are you? You're first to be on this morning. Congratulations. Again, remember, we're paying attention to not only who's in the room, but who's engaging, okay? And this week, like I said, we had some really, really great, amazing topics. So I hope you were paying attention and you were engaging, including today, okay? I need y'all to let me know what y'all think about the information that we're going to be speaking on this morning. Good morning, Miss Charlene. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for choosing to start your morning with us today. Amen. Good morning, Terrence. Good morning. How are you? Where were you yesterday? Yesterday, you missed some good conversations, boy. Really good. I know you would have been chiming in. But nonetheless, we thank God for sparing all of our lives, choosing to call our names, and waking us up this morning. Okay? So, again, Friday. We're not necessarily focusing on health tips outside of the foods that are healthy and unhealthy for our gut, but we are focusing on some due time trivia, y'all. Now, what's the trivia about this morning? The top Black actors in Hollywood. Now, I thought of this because I came across an Instagram post where Eddie Murphy was sitting conversing with someone. I never saw this person before, but they have a pretty good platform, a pretty established platform. And he was speaking on how he was voted worst actor, worst actress, and worst something for the movie Norbit. Did y'all watch Norbit? I saw bits and pieces of Norbit. I did not like it at all. And I am a huge Eddie Murphy fan. Put in the comments if you're a huge Eddie Murphy fan. I love Eddie Murphy. Oh, wait, what time I talking about? We have been in and out of it for weeks now, but I'm back. Amen. Amen. Thank you for being back. Thank you for being back. Eddie Murphy fans. If you're an Eddie Murphy fan, put Eddie Murphy in the comments. I love Eddie Murphy. I used to be a young person. When you say a young lad, does that mean a boy? Because I said it once and someone looked at me like I was crazy. So, young lad, is that a boy? Is that a young boy? I don't know. But when I was an adolescent, I used to always watch Raw. Y'all saw Raw? His stand-up comedy movie. You know who helped him write Raw? I believe it was Keenan Ivory Wayans and Robert Townsend. I know definitely Keenan Ivory Wayans. If Robert Townsend didn't write it, I think he did the cinematography or the directing or something. He had something to do with it. I loved Raw. I loved Raw. Oh, Kenny says, yes, I always love Eddie Murphy. Yes, Kenny, put in the comments, what was your favorite Eddie Murphy movie? If you have two, then put that in. But if you only have one, put that in the comments. I loved Raw. Now, Raw came out in what? Hold on, real quick. Let's see what year Raw came out. because I know I was young. I know it was in the 80s, and I'm an 80s baby. So without having to give my exact, I'm sorry, they giving me, I don't know what Roy Google is talking about right now. 87. So Raw came out when I was a toddler. And by the time I was an adolescent, I was watching Raw. If you watch Raw, that is such a graphic. The language is so graphic, but it is so hilarious. Good morning, Anika. Oh, I'm so sorry. We have to make sure we give a huge morning shout out to Anika, who always holds it down for Pastor Steph, and who taught me. Anika's the one who taught me how to be behind the scenes, y'all. It was her. She's amazing. So not only did she learn, listen, everyone can't teach. That's a gift. Okay, so thank you, Anika, and good morning to you. Anika, if you are an Eddie Murphy fan, put in the comments which movie was your favorite from Eddie Murphy. Ketty says Beverly Hills Cop. Yes, wait, Ketty. My favorite Beverly Hills Cop was part 3. That was my favorite one. Loved it. Part 1 was good. Part 1 was great. Part 2 was good. Part 3, I absolutely love. Good morning, Kyra. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Kyra. If you are an Eddie Murphy fan, I have to make sure I'm forming all of the letters. Put in the comments what your favorite movie is from Eddie Murphy. And you know, another reason why I love him is because he created his own opportunities. Outside of Saturday Night Live, I believe everything he did was produced by him. And, you know, him and his brother, they worked really close on a lot of projects. And I know it was a real hit or win. His brother passed, but he kept going. He was able to keep going. Harlem Nights, Katie says. Harlem Nights. Katie, I remember going to the movies with my mother and my grandmother to see Harlem Nights. Again, I was so little, but that was one of the best movies that they were able to put so many different characters in. So many different Black actors. You know, a lot of times they put a lot of these Black actors in, and it's like, okay, it's kind of overkill. But you had Robin Harris, Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, Della Reese. What was Eddie Murphy's brother name again? What was his name? Oh my gosh, I forget his name. You had Thomas Ford, Tommy for Martin. He wasn't really a comedian, but he was really good. Arsenio Hall was hilarious in that movie. Who else did you have? Heavy hitter. Jasmine Guy, she wasn't a comedian, but she was really good in that. So you had such a dynamic cast, and it was amazing. But let's get into who they're saying. And you know, I started to do Black actors and actresses, but since it's Friday, Men's Day here on this Blue Time with Pastor Steph, we're going to focus on highlighting the men this morning. Okay, before we do that, we have another morning shout out. Good morning, Majesty. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for choosing to start your morning with us. We're speaking on the top Black actors in Hollywood. If you love Eddie Murphy, put your favorite Eddie Murphy movie in the comments. Yes, Charlie Murphy. Thank you. How I forget that? Charlie Murphy. That was Eddie Murphy's brother's name, who passed. Before we get into this list real quick, we have Anika says Harlem Nights is second for her. Dr. Doolittle. You like Dr. Doolittle? I guess it was okay. Anika says yes, Beverly Hills Cop. The original is my favorite. Yeah, the first one was hilarious. Oh, Majesty said Boomerang. Let me tell you real quick about me and Boomerang. I was 7 when Boomerang came out. Tell my age. 7. I was 7 when Boomerang came out. I used to watch that movie every day. Me and my grandmother used to sneak into the movie theaters. Like we would spend the entire day in the movie theaters. We would pay to see one movie. By the time we left, when they were closing, we would watch about 6, 7 movies, whether it was different or kept sitting in the same one. We were hard movie buffs. It wasn't until I got older and I watched it and I was like, this is what, like, I really knew what they were talking about. I just knew I loved it. Soundtrack, phenomenal. Shout out to Babyface. Soundtrack was phenomenal. But growing up, after watching it as an adult, and you really understanding the context of the plot and the lines and the scenarios, it was like, wow, okay, they really outdid themselves. So I love Boomerang as well. Majesty said the same. Yeah, see, like we watched these movies when we were younger, and it was just something about it, whether it was the cinematography or just the actors or the music or whatever that we liked, but we didn't really understand the plight of the storyline. We were kids, you know. We're adults, and sometimes we still don't understand the plight of some of these. Well, nowadays these movies are trash, but nonetheless, let's get into this so I can get some thumbs up and thumbs down for who they're saying the top Black actors in Hollywood are, and I'm going in order. Okay, they have it numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, all right. Denzel Washington is number 1. Who agrees with that? I don't know. I don't know. They're saying Denzel Washington is the top Black actor. Now, he does have a lot of movie credits under his belt. And I didn't realize how far back he goes in acting. Like, he's been acting I know he's acting for a long time, but he's acting for a long time. Okay, a long time. All right, we got okay, we got thumbs up for Denzel Washington being number 1. We got a wave. What does the wave mean? Nah, Majesty, is the wave nah? Denzel Washington is a number 1. I don't know. Clarify that for me, please. Kenny says yes. Anika says we can't forget Coming to America. No, we cannot forget Coming to America. We absolutely cannot. My youngest sister, who is a Gen Z, knows that movie, and now she'll just walk up to me and start quoting lines from the movie. Classics. Okay, yes, Majesty said yes, that's a thumbs up for Denzel Washington being number 1. Malcolm X was really good. Kenny says it was. Like Pastor Steph said the other day, you really have to be in the mood for that. Well, not you, me. I have to be in the mood. Okay, the second best actor in Hollywood, according to the masses, Forrest Whitaker. Y'all know Forrest Whitaker. He played Rucker in Rebound with Don Cheadle. He played in The Butler. Lee Daniels, The Butler. He played The Butler. He played... What else, Forrest Whitaker? What's that movie where he was the father of the interracial couple? I forgot. Okay, wait. Terrence is quoting Denzel Washington in Training Day. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. Yeah, Training Day was really good with Ethan Hawke. I love Ethan Hawke. He's not a Black actor, but I love Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke does the thing. Okay. Majesty says Hurricane is still my favorite film by Denzel Washington. Okay, did I see Hurricane? I don't remember. I think I'm gonna have a movie night. Well, I always have movie nights. We'll never need an excuse to have movie nights in this house. But I think I'm gonna have to sit and watch Hurricane. I don't remember watching it. Okay, so Forrest Whitaker as the second best actor. Thumbs up if you agree, thumbs down if you disagree. Okay, again, he played the Butler in Lee Daniels, The Butler. He played Rucker in Rebound. He played in that interracial movie. I forgot the name of it. He's played in a lot. Forrest Whitaker has played in a lot. And does he have a twin? Does he have a twin? I heard he has a twin. Okay, so moving on. All right, we have third best actor, best Black actor in Hollywood. Morgan Freeman. Y'all know Morgan Freeman played Joe Clark and Lean on Me, played the vice president in, what's the name of the movie? Olympus and London Has Fallen. And then he played the president in Angel Has Fallen. Did y'all see part 3, Angel Has Fallen? I really like that. I actually want to watch that. Jada Pinkett was in that one. Was it you? I really want to watch that one. I think I'm going to have to set that up as a quick 2-hour movie moment today. Yeah, I told you we don't need an excuse. So, what else did Morgan Freeman play on? Driving Miss Daisy. Morgan Freeman. What's the movie? Something with the spider. Something with the spider. It was like a thriller, old school movie. I believe that was in the early 90s. But he played in a lot. Morgan Freeman has played in a lot. He's been acting for years. Ketty says, yes, Morgan Freeman, another great actor. All right, so if you think Morgan Freeman deserves the number 3 spot as the 3rd top best black actor in Hollywood, thumbs up. If you disagree, thumbs down. Okay, Majesty says, they used to call me Crazy Joe, now they call me Batman. Yes, one of his infamous lines from Lean on Me. Listen, all right, I got some movie buffs in the house. This is why y'all need to make sure y'all on my 2 cents with us. We just got finished doing our rapid fire this past Wednesday night. It was amazing, hilarious. We had multiple contestants. Part 1 was great. Part 2, the other night, Wednesday night, was phenomenal. And we're just praying that we can continue to build on that momentum because it was great. All right. So Ketty gives top for number 3. Okay. Terrence says, no, Morgan Freeman deserves number 2. All right, we're just going to do a couple of more before we get into our news, okay? Because, see, I could sit and do this movie thing all day, but I don't want Pastor Steph ringing my neck, all right? Okay, so we have Cuba Gooding Jr. as number 4. Y'all know Cuba Gooding Jr. Yo, he played in this movie. What was the name of the movie where he played a dirty cop? And he had a white partner. Oh, what was the name of that movie? I forgot. But he's best known for like Jerry Maguire. He played the fake love interest to Halle Berry in Losing Isaiah. He played Radio. Wasn't he the one who started in Radio? Y'all know Cuba Gooding Jr. Y'all know Cuba Gooding Jr. He's number 4 on the list. Thumbs up if you think Cuba Gooding Jr. deserves number 4 as top black actor in Hollywood, or thumbs down if you think that no, he doesn't deserve that spot. Okay, we have Temin says Eddie and Martin in the movie Life, still top 5 for me. Yes, Life was hilarious. You know, I watched Life so many times, and it was one time I was in the bathroom doing my hair, and I just had the movie playing. I wasn't watching it. It was even funnier. And I don't know if it's because I wasn't looking, I was just listening. It was even funnier. Okay, Majesty says, not gonna lie, Radio had me weak. I don't think I really sat and watched. I don't remember sitting and watching the whole Radio movie. I don't know. All right, so Temin says, agree with Morgan can be number 2. Temin, didn't you just say somebody else could be number 2? I'm confused. Make up your mind. Okay, Miss Charlene says she agrees that Cuba Gooding Jr. deserves the number 4 spot. I can't wait to get the men's input on this because these men are into performing arts. Pastor Steph has a Good Time Crew where most of us are in performing arts. So whether it's music and or film and theater and all of that. So I can't wait to get their input. Okay, number 5. Oh my, okay, wait. We're gonna have to buy a little more time, y'all. Just a few more minutes. Message Pastor Steph and say, please forgive Shontyce, because I'm seeing some names up here. And okay, number 5 they have listed is Will Smith. Do y'all agree or disagree? Will Smith, I loved him in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air growing up. When he started doing movies, he just did too much crying for me. Now I understand when you get into drama entails crying a lot of the times, but boy, in every movie. Good actor, really good actor. But do you think Will Smith deserves the number 5 spot in the best actors in Hollywood. Thumbs up if you agree, thumbs down if you disagree. Number 6 on the list, Mekhi Phifer. He is too low on the list for me, according to this list. Mekhi Phifer, he played Brandy's boyfriend in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. He played the boyfriend in O. That movie was like precious to me. I will never watch that movie again because the plight was just too intense for me. It was just too like, I just want to wring everyone's neck in that movie. I just want to wring. Okay, wait, Majesty gave thumbs up. Okay, so Majesty, you're giving thumbs up for Will Smith having number 5. Okay. Wait, Miss Charlene says, I agree. Denzel Washington is number 1. The movie played in, I loved him in Glory. Okay, Miss Charlene. So she is verifying that Denzel Washington gets that number 1 spot. What do y'all think about Mekhi Phifer, y'all? Mekhi Phifer. I love him. Uninvited guest. One of those low budget movies. He played Bobby Brown's brother in the Bobby Brown story, which they did a phenomenal job with that. BET did a phenomenal job with doing the new edition and the Bobby Brown story. I think everyone should go to that if they want their biopic done. What else did Mekhi? He played in so many different. He played in Colors. Oh my gosh, Colors! Didn't Colors come out in like 1988, 89? It came out like late 80s. I don't even think it was the 90s yet. He played in Colors. He played in an episode of New York Undercover where he was an abusive boyfriend. He was so good in that. Okay, Majesty says not enough body of work to be on the list, and that's Family. Wait, what? You trying to come for Mekhi? Nah. Mekhi Phifer, he played in ER from 2002 to 2008. My mother was a huge ER fan. I think she still is. She still watches them. But what? Nah, I don't agree with that. Anika says like Cuba and Sil, but I feel there are others should be before them, like Samuel L. Jackson. Wait, who's Sil? Am I pronouncing that correctly? Oh, Will. Okay, so like Cuba and Will, but I feel like others should be before them, like Samuel L. Jackson. That is true. Like what? We about to see real quick before we get into the news if he's on this list and where he falls, because that is yes, Ketty. Thank you. Yes, Mekhi Phifer played in Soul Food. Clockers. I said Colors. It's Clockers. It's Clocker. Yes, Soul Food. He played Nia Long's husband, not in Soul Food the series, Soul Food the movie. And he did a phenomenal. Anything I've watched Mekhi Phifer play in, especially when he was Slim Mekhi, because it's almost like talking about Luther. You're talking about Big Luther, Little Luther. We talk about Little Mekhi, especially. He used to do the thing. He used to look so good. Not Mustang, do this thing. Very, very, very handsome. Well, good morning, Miss Grace. How are you? Thank you so much for joining and being able to comment. Thank you. All right, so we had a couple. Actually, Anika, Lawrence Fishburne falls at number 7. So you have Will Smith, Cuba Gooding Jr., Morgan Freeman, Forrest Whitaker, Mekhi Phifer above Lawrence Fishburne. Do y'all agree with that? Thumbs up if you agree Lawrence Fishburne deserves the number 7 spot. Thumbs down if you think he should be higher in the ranks. Anika brought up Samuel L. Jackson. He falls as number 10. What? Will Smith is not better than Samuel L. Jackson. Mekhi Phifer is not better than Samuel L. Jackson. Cuba Gooding Jr. is not better than Samuel L. Jackson. Denzel, if they had a versus, they did the verses with the musicians. If they have verses with actors, they should do that. I could see Denzel versus Samuel L. Jackson, and that really being like a toe-to-toe. In my personal opinion, Samuel L. Jackson will get it for me. Do y'all even know his history? Y'all have to know he was a recovering crackhead. Was it his first movie? I know Jungle Fever was Halle Berry's first movie. She played his crackhead girlfriend, and she did phenomenal. Pastor Steph just spoke about that not that long ago here. He was a recovering crackhead. Yes. And his wife stood by him. And now look at him now. He's a Capital One man with all of the movie and TV credits under his belt. Losing Isaiah, he played the lawyer. He played the crackhead in Jungle Fever. He was hilarious in Juice. He played the bodega owner or whatever that spot was where they used to cut school. Come on, y'all. Samuel L. Jackson. A Time to Kill. Oh, forget about it. Opposite Sandra Bullock and Matthew McConaughey. What? He was phenomenal. Okay, so Anika's saying Samuel L. Jackson needs to be higher on the list. I agree. Anika, what number do you think Samuel L. Jackson should be? Majesty, you giving thumbs down that he should be higher? No? Okay. Majesty says Makai at number 6, Fishburne at number 7. This list is wild. Yeah, I don't know if it was us on this side of the fence or the opposite side of the fence who made this list, because they're crazy like that. And Miss Charlene says yes, Morgan Freeman is good. He was good in Glory too. Yes. So we're gonna have to end this because wait, I'm sorry. See, this is why I can't. They have Lorenz Tate as number 12, y'all. Now see, anyone who knows me knows how I feel about Lorenz Tate. Mr. What's his name? The one in the movie who aged backwards? Because that's him. Lorenz Tate looks younger now than he did when he was acting in the 90s, and we're now in the 25. Okay, but Anika says yes, Samuel L. Jackson should definitely be in the top 5. All right, I can't stop me from looking at this list, y'all. Stop me, because there is no way. I just had someone tell me relax. No, I'm not relaxing, because there's no way Lorenz Tate is number what? What is he? 12? Y'all telling me that Danny Glover, Mekhi Phifer, Will Smith, Cuba Gooding Jr., Morgan Freeman, all of them are better than Lorenz Tate? I gotta end this. Do time men who are on listening right now, just remember who we mentioned. I still have the list in front of me. We can come back to it, but that just got me hyped and low-key mad. We're gonna have to move on to the news, y'all, because I am hyped. That's what I'm saying. Don't get me started with the movies and stuff. All right, so we are getting into our celebrity news. I didn't find really too much that was really something that was like, oh yeah, I want to talk about that. But it were things that was kind of hitting. Where I think we have another comment. Okay, Miss Charlene says thumbs down. Miss Charlene, what are you giving a thumbs down to? You giving a thumbs down about Lorenz Tate? Who's the thumbs down for? I don't know. Okay, let's make that clear. All right, so we have in our celebrity news this morning, we have Fat Joe, who has a podcast with rapper Jadakiss. So you have rapper Fat Joe, who has a podcast with rapper Jadakiss. I didn't even realize they had a podcast together. Pretty dope. But Fat Joe blames gentrification for BET suspending the Hip Hop and Soul Train Awards. Now, on our My 2 Cents episode this past Wednesday night, actually, Brother Ainley did give a breakdown as to what was going on with the suspension of the BET Awards and the Soul Train Award. I didn't realize it was Hip Hop Awards, but the Shontyce Hip Hop Awards goes hand in hand with that. All right. I got some side people. Put it in the chat. That's getting on me because they were telling me about it. I know, but sometimes I got a whole lot of information that I have to obtain. So forgive me if I don't move on all of the information that is given to me at that time. But nonetheless, he is blaming gentrification. And I had to make sure that I really understood what gentrification is. But that's the process where the low income or the working class, whether it's a neighborhood or organization or whatever, is transformed into something that's more affluent, something that's wealthier residents if it's property, wealthier businesses if you're talking about businesses and brands, and that's when they come and they move in, and that leads to the increase in the value of the property and the area and the business, so on and so forth, and it displaces the original residents, the original business owners, the original workers, so on and so forth. So that is what gentrification is. So that is what Fat Joe is blaming for the cancellation of these awards shows, the BET Awards, Hip Hop Awards, Soul Train Awards. Now, he was the host the past few years for the Hip Hop Awards. So, of course, he's going to feel some type of way because now it's like, you cutting me out directly. You know, not only indirectly with me being down with this culture, but also directly because that was kind of my bread and butter during that season. Now, I wanted to do a little, even though I kind of knew, but still wanted to do a little back quick on BET. It goes back to 2001, this whole issue of gentrification. Back in 2001, BET founder, now someone saying co-founder or founder, but nonetheless, Mr. Robert Johnson. He started BET with a $15,000 loan back in 1979. Okay, this is just like one of the things that it's like blow mind for me. You took out a $15,000 loan in 1979. $15,000 back in 1979 was a whole lot of money, from my understanding. Okay, I watched Good Times a lot. That was in the 70s, and $5,000 was like $50,000 to us now. So yeah, that was a lot. And he sold BET to Viacom for $3 billion. And I remember when I first heard about this back in 01, 02, whichever year, and I was very, very disappointed because the first thing that came to mind was, this is why we can never have anything. Why are we always selling our stuff? And it's not like we sell it within the culture like all of the other cultures and nationalities do. We always gotta, as they would say, sell out. Okay, so Fat Joe says he noticed that employees were being let go and the budget for the Hip Hop Awards kept declining. So probably wasn't all that much of a surprise when it was officially canceled, but he did see how it was just declining. Okay, now BET became the first Black controlled listed company on the New York Stock Exchange. And see, this is the kind of thing that, so he sold it to Viacom. Viacom is now Paramount. And it's owned by, I thought I documented it. It's owned by some family names start with an R. I forgot. But it's on the other side of the fence. So are we really all that flabbergasted and taken aback that the Hip Hop Awards, the BET Awards, Soul Train Awards, all, even if you never knew or heard of these awards before, once you hear the names, you can tell which side of the fence it's acknowledging and honoring and highlighting. Are we really all that surprised? I didn't realize Viacom is now Paramount. Very, very interesting. Okay, so Fat Joe is feeling some type of way. I'm sure he's not the only one. I'm not big in the industry, but I feel some type of way as well for obvious reasons. Yeah, so I'm not sure what's to come for the whole BET network. But I thought Tyler Perry had something to do with BET Plus. He had something to do with, right? I don't know. But that Red something family, they're holding it down now. Okay, so we got to make sure, y'all, that we're doing what we need to do, because this is not, I don't know, they're not moving really well. Okay, so I came across a very interesting post that made me want to read the article. So we know this whole Diddy thing. Everybody's been following the Diddy case directly or indirectly. So you have one of his ex-girlfriends who wrote the judge, urging the judge to release Diddy. Now, we've been talking about how Diddy's attorneys have been petitioning for him to be let out on bail while they're doing the whole wait for the sentencing that's supposed to be taking place in October, God spares. Well, she wrote the judge. Her name is Virginia Gina Hine. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. And she's now on this whole praise thing with Diddy. I'm not sure what that is about, but she is a model slash influencer, and she dated Diddy back in 2014 to 2019, and she has spoken publicly in the past about his physical, emotional, and mental abuse. And she actually was dating him the same time Cassie started dating him. So she was dating him first, but then once Cassie started dating him, she didn't break up with him. She stated back in the day publicly how he coerced her into getting an abortion twice, and she stayed with him despite all of that because she loved him, despite the abuse on many different levels in many different areas, and him ensuring that she got these pregnancies terminated. She did drop out at the last minute, so she was supposed to testify against him during the trial, and then she decided to drop out of testifying. Didn't state why, but she did make a post because she's been all over the Threads app. So if you have the Threads app, you could probably go back to her page and look at what she wrote. But I wanted to see real quick here if I can read some of her posts. She put, quote, "I've never been the type of person to follow crowds and trends. I'm not a follower. You sheeps act like I can't forgive a man I once loved. I'm not going to kick him while he's down because y'all want me to. I'm always going to have his back," end quote. Then she posted something else that says that, quote, "Diddy is full of energy and love, patience, and gentleness despite his mistakes. Mistakes were made, but he was willing to acknowledge his mistakes and make better decisions in the future." When, sis? Because I remember the post where he had to go on and apologize because all of the accusations started coming out and he was denying everything. And then once the video hit the streets, now you want to make this public apology. Maybe my recollection isn't on point. So Judge Subramanian, that's her last name. No last name, right? She keeps denying. So they made another attempt to get this this bail granted by the judge back on the 4th of August, which was just a few days ago. And she said no. Again, they asked for a $50 million bond, and she said no because he has failed to meet his burden by clear and convincing evidence of demonstrating that he will not be a danger to the public or that he will not flee. So if the judge is not convinced, so you've gone public in the past and you made these accusations that he abused you mentally, emotionally, physically, and he made you terminate multiple pregnancies, but then you now are petitioning for him to get out. How does that work? I don't understand how that works. Do y'all understand how that works? I don't know. I can't wait to get more of my thoughts once we get the Due Time men on. Okay, so we have a viewer submitted story where we have 24-year-old Lamont Oliphant, who stabbed his father in the neck, fatally stabbed his father in the neck in his NYCHA apartment in Washington Heights. And his father, which I'm sure many know, and I'm sure some of our viewers may know. Hold on, let me see if I can pull up his thing here. He is Rutgers Harlem Hoop legend Lamont Thornton, who went by Tip Dog. Yes, who went by Tip Dog. 58-year-old Lamont Thornton was stabbed in his neck by his 24-year-old son in their NYCHA apartment. And this happened at around midnight. After being stabbed, he ran out of the apartment, leaving traces of blood everywhere until he ran outside and collapsed out on the sidewalk, rushed to Harlem Hospital, where he underwent emergency surgery and was placed in medically induced coma. And unfortunately, he passed 2 weeks later. One of the neighbors said that he must have been going from door to door trying to get help. So the caption originally read that Rucker legend Lamont T. Tip Dog Thornton was let down by his neighbors and his family, because, like one of the neighbors is saying, he had to have been going from door to door trying to get help because there was blood everywhere. There was blood all over the elevator buttons. There was blood on multiple doorknobs in the hallway. There was blood everywhere. And one of the neighbors said that 75-year-old neighbor says that, wait, before I get into that, because the son, let's go back to the son real quick. The son, he was initially charged with attempted murder, but of course it upgraded once his father passed. So now he is going to face trial for murder. And they were stating that, of course, this must be some type of mental illness, because they found him outside demanding that the cops help him get back into his apartment, and he had a knife in his hand. And when they found out which apartment it was, it happened to be the apartment that the blood was leading from. So you're outside after fatally stabbing your father in the neck, demanding that the cops help you get back into your apartment, the apartment where you stabbed your father. Like, they're not going to find this out. Okay. And that's how they were able to get him into custody. But they were able to get him into custody, I think they said, up to 90 minutes after the incident. Now, going back to when they said that the neighbors let him down, he had a 75-year-old neighbor. And she says that Lamont tried to get her to open the door for him for help. But because she was afraid for her life, she intentionally left him in the hallway. And I want to read a quote from her. She says, "I don't open my door for nobody. I got shot years ago, so I learned my lesson. In the morning when I got up, my door was covered in blood." Now, we covered this yesterday when we spoke about the 57-year-old woman who, despite being kicked down the subway stairs and banged in her head 13 times with the hammer and having to go under emergency surgery on her skull, but she still takes the train to and from work every day. Did we think that was crazy, or did we not agree? Or did we agree with her? And there was some mixed feelings amongst the Due Time crew. But if you know what it is to be shot, you know what it is to need help. And I understand that you're elderly, but 9 times out of 10, these NYCHA residents know each other. And you see him bleeding, and you don't even call for help, even if you were afraid to open the door, because maybe you thought the person who stabbed him was right behind him, so they would come in as well. But you don't even call for help. Like, oh my gosh, okay, you slam the door, you get 911, you talk to him through the door or something, you do nothing, you don't throw him no towel, no paper towel, nothing. And you know what it is to be shot? Where is the Due Time crew? Where is the Due Time crew? Who do we have on this morning? We have Brother Al this morning. Good morning, Brother Al.
Top of the morning. Top of the morning.
How are you?
Everything's everything.
Good. Now, I saw you hanging out in the back while we were discussing the top Black actors in Hollywood. Anyone on that list, did you agree or disagree that the placement, according to the list that I was reading, was correct? And if not, who would you put in their place?
Man, you know, it's so hard because excuse me, it's so hard because they're all great actors, you know, and you know, and I think it also go to according of who you like as well. Like Morgan Freeman, I love Morgan Freeman. He do his thing. But honestly, I'd had Denzel first and Sammy J second. Sammy J
Really?
did some
Okay.
things, man. Yeah. And I remember Sammy J back in Spike Lee movies. You know what I'm saying? Do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he been around for a minute. And I love, like I said, I love Morgan Freeman. And I think Morgan Freeman would come in. Then there were some people up there who I thought should have been up there that wasn't in there. You know,
Now, okay,
that, you
so
know, from what you read.
who didn't you hear mentioned in the top five that you would put in the top five?
The top five, let's see, I had Denzel, Samuel J, Morgan Freeman, um, uh, Lawrence Fishburne, and trying to see who else would have been up there.
You got some heavy hitters so far.
Yeah, and probably Lorenz Tate, and then start
Probably,
going from there.
absolutely,
Probably
Lorenz
Lorenz
Tate
Tate
in
and
the top five.
go for it. See, this is what I'm saying, because that's who you like. So see what I'm saying? It's
Because of
about who you like. But
his acting
yes,
is
yeah.
impeccable. Oh my
But you
god.
know what? Yeah, he is a great actor, great actor.
Yes.
You know, you know, I mean, you didn't get a chance to finish the list, but you know, I look at things too, roles that certain actors played. Like I forgot the guy name that passed away. Remember the Black Panther?
Oh yes, Chadwick Boseman. Yes.
Chadwick Boseman.
Yes.
They, all you hear is Black Panther, but
Yes.
nobody say the great job he did with James Brown. Oh my God,
Yes.
he
Oh
played
my
that part.
goodness.
So you see what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Nobody talks about. All they talk about is Black Panther. Don't get me wrong, he did great, but James Brown, oh my God, he killed it. He killed it.
Yes. Absolutely.
So
No, that was amazing. That was amazing.
yeah,
Okay, let's get our brother Ainsley in and see. I think I want to start off with that question too, brother Al. Like who would you put in 1 and 2? Would it be Samuel L. Jackson or Denzel Washington? Good morning, brother Ainsley.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. What's up? What up?
Good. All right. So I saw you hanging out in the background while we were conversing about these black actors. And I love the fact that I can talk to you gentlemen about this because you're into the art. So it's not like you're only a spectator. This is also your field. Now, if you had to choose, would it be Samuel L. Jackson first and then Denzel, or Denzel first and then Samuel L. Jackson?
I will go with Denzel.
Okay.
Over Sam.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So did you hear it? Was there an actor that you didn't hear in the top 5 that you would put in the top 5?
Yeah. You see, I didn't hear the beginning of it, so I'm presuming you're talking about living, because there's a couple of names that I would think that should be up there I didn't hear. So I didn't hear the whole thing.
Okay, so wait. I'm really quick. I'm gonna give you who they have as the top 5. Wait, I think they messed it up. Hold on. I think they messed it up. Oh, wait. So you had Denzel, Forrest Whitaker, Morgan Freeman, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Will Smith. That's who they have in the top 5.
That's an all-time top 5?
Yeah, according to this list.
Nah.
As far as black actors in Hollywood. So who would you have in the top 5?
All right, I'll have what's his name? James Earl Jones and Sidney. You gotta put them in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, who's the second actor you said?
Sidney
Poitier. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you taking it back. Okay.
If you're talking all time, you gotta talk all time.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, you got
I'm,
Morgan Freeman in there. I mean,
yeah.
Might as well add Sidney
Living now. All right, you can go with that. But you're talking all time. Now,
right.
You gotta consider all time then.
Right. No. Listen, I agree. We're talking about black actors. They didn't say from which year to which year. Like you said, they're saying in general. Okay. All right. Well, let's ask Pastor Jeff who he feels should be 1 and 2. Good morning, Pastor Jeff.
Good morning. Good morning,
How are
everybody.
you?
Good.
Good morning,
Good.
bro.
All right.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry.
Morning.
Morgan Freeman?
Huh?
Oh, you said good morning. I thought you said Morgan.
No, I
I'm
said
like,
good
wait.
morning.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I get real excited to talk about acting. Okay, so would you put Denzel Washington or Samuel L. Jackson in the number 1 spot?
Well, you know I got to go with Denzel because he from New
Really?
York and came up in the church with me in the Church of God in Christ. So I
Of
got to
course
go with
he
him.
did, Pastor Jeff.
Huh?
Of course he did. No,
And
I remember you. I
my
remember you telling me.
stepfather just gave him his minister license and baptized him. So, you know.
Yes.
Denzel.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So Denzel is still reigning at number 1. Are there any actors that you feel should have been in the top 5 that you did not hear?
James Earl, Sidney Poitier, you know, but you got to put Will Smith in there too. Now, I know people don't like him, but you know he plays some roles.
He's actually number 5.
Okay.
Yes, he's actually in the top 5 according to this list. Okay, all right, wow. Okay, so Denzel is still reigning at number 1. We're gonna say good morning to Lady Tamika. Good morning. Thanks for joining us this morning. Lady Tamika, put in the comments who do you think should get the number 1 spot? Denzel Washington or Samuel L. Jackson? Okay, let's ask. Oh goodness, let's ask Pastor KL.
And why do we say "oh goodness" when we had asked Pastor KL?
Because anytime we start talking to you about movies, either you
I know.
don't know it at all, or
Hey, I know people. I know people.
Okay, all right. So Samuel L. Jackson with Denzel Washington as number 1.
Denzel, hands down.
What? I'm the only one who feels Samuel L. Jackson. That's crazy.
You're a buzzer.
Because you're crazy. You think you can do this to me? You think you can do this to me?
I think they're both phenomenal, but if I had to choose, I would just put Samuel L. Jackson.
And you know why? Listen, so I'll tell you why I picked Denzel.
Okay.
And it's not so much his movies. I love his theater. His theater is outstanding. You know, I'm more of a theater person than a movie person.
Okay.
What he does on stage is fabulous.
Yeah, that's my reason too. Because the best actors, he will tell you,
right.
His prowess comes from working on stage. The best actors are the ones who do on stage. So you say you go on movies, they can chop it up and make you look a certain way, the ankles, this, that, and another. Really, are only as good as you can perform live. You know, so let you know he's really a theater actor, and he's always out every summer doing the plays and whatnot. He's on top of his craft. So that's why I give him the edge over Sam. I don't know if Sam does theater that much and stuff like that, but Denzel, he's been like that from the start, from the gate, and so that's why I gotta give it to him.
Okay.
Young bucks don't go to the theater.
I go to the theater. I have no choice but to go to the theater. Do y'all know who my mama is? I could never just stay a one-note Charlie around her. She would do my neck, even if I wanted to, even if I tried to. Okay, well, though, I mean, y'all gave valid reasons as to why y'all are keeping Denzel on the number 1 spot. Like I said, I'm not mad because I think they're both phenomenal. I would just put Samuel L. Jackson first. All right, gentlemen. So we have.
You ain't asking my 5. You ain't asking my 5.
Oh,
I know people. I know people. People.
Wait, I was about to ask you, did you know somebody, and the name just left my head. Okay, so come back, I'm gonna ask you randomly. It might be during while we're conversing about the news. Okay, so which actor did you not hear in the top 5, Pastor KO, that you would put in the top 5?
Well, definitely James L. Jones, Chadwick, and there's an actor that I don't know his name, but you guys can help me out. He's a black guy who played in The Practice. And he played in Medea's first play that came out.
Oh, the big dude.
Yeah, the black guy. That man is oh my God, he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal.
Wait, what's the first thing you said he played in?
And the practice is like a Law and Order thing.
Oh, okay.
And he was in Medea's play. He was the one that wound up in the wheelchair.
Oh, okay. When he did
He did play the husband. I could do battle by myself.
Yes. Yeah, he was in the movie too. He was in the movie as well. He was in the play and he was in the movie.
Wait, you're not talking about Steve Harris?
That's probably his name, the black ball guy.
Yeah, Steve Harris. He played the husband in the movie.
Yes.
That's Wood Harris's brother.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Y'all didn't know that?
No.
Nah.
What? Yes, that is his brother. And out of those two, I love Wood Harris. Wood Harris played in Paid in Full. Wood Harris played in Above the Rim. Wood Harris played in The Wire. He has so many credentials he has more than Steve Harris does.
Wow.
Yeah. I see Steve Harris is good. But Wood Harris is
I'm telling you, Steve Harris can be my lawyer anytime. If you ever hear his closers, man, that boy bad.
Wow.
Yeah, I give it to him.
Okay. All right. Well, those are some good. James Earl Jones came up a few times. Okay. All right.
So I know people now. I know people.
You ain't even remember Steve Harris' name. I know people. Wait, I don't know his name, but he played in such a
go on to the next question now. That's enough.
All right. Moving on. So we have Fat Joe and Jada Kiss, who are conversing on their podcast, and they're discussing what Fat Joe is mainly talking about how he's blaming gentrification for, it's the Redstone family. That's their name. He's blaming gentrification for the reason why the BET Awards, the BET Hip Hop Awards, and the Soul Train Awards are canceled. And of course, he feels some type of way because the past 3 years, I believe, he was the one who was hosting the Hip Hop Awards. So now you cutting into his bread and butter, his notoriety, his credentials that he can now put, under his belt, on his resume, in his bio. What do you gentlemen think about this whole gentrification process and how this is one of the main reasons why this side of the fence can never have nothing, because we work hard for it, we get it, and then we sell it to the opposite side of the fence, and then we act all taken aback when drastic changes like this are made. Brother Al.
Well, one of the things is I would like to know why he sold it. Sometimes we sit back and be like, oh, you got this company, this and that. Why you sell it? Well, why did you sell it? Find out. I would like to know why he sold it. It could have been some crazy issues. He's like, what? I'm tired of this. Let me just get rid of it. But then I'm looking at everybody complaining, but I don't see nobody doing nothing. See, the other side of the fence don't do that. If they don't like something that's going on, whatever, they out marching, they petitioning. We just sit back and complain. Oh, why they canceling it? That was our thing. It was for us. Okay, but I don't see nobody out doing anything.
Okay. Brother Ainsley, I know you gave a quick but thorough breakdown the other night when we were on for my 2 cents, when you were discussing the cancellation of the awards. But what do you think about this whole gentrification thing and Robert Johnson selling it back? And I think it was 2001. Yes, in 2001, and now these are the results of it now being handed over. It was a black man who made it to honor, recognize, and highlight the community, the culture. You sell it outside the culture, and now you're a little surprised that the culture is getting shot down. How does that work for you, Brother Ainsley?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure he had no idea that this was going to happen, sometime in the future. Like you make deals to see things grow. You be like, I can see why you want to merge or partner in with somebody. Look, I always say it's better to have 50% of something than 100% of nothing. So if I can grow 4 times as better with merging with somebody else, even with somebody on the opposite side of the fence, and be like, all right, so then I can still push our culture even further. You know, the thing is, like I said before, the hand that feeds you can be the same hand that starves you and whatnot. So in this case, you have BT going to Viacom, then it's going to turn its hand to uh, Paramount, and then to this other company and whatnot. And you just get diluted, and it basically just comes down to, are y'all worth the money for me to for them to put this on? And particularly, there's no care for really or regard for our culture and stuff like that. But look, this ain't the first time that we somebody built a company. Now look at Motown, Barry Gordy, same thing in music. I think he sold it. I forgot when, to uh, I forgot some music group. I think like for 60 million, and then a few years later, they sold that for 300 million. But I guess after a while, you built it up. You've been at this thing for 30 years. You're like, all right, I'm kind of tired of holding this lead role, and if it don't seem like there's somebody who can really push it forward on my own, maybe it's better to partner with somebody. But you know, um, but again, it's like it seemed like a loss to us because we don't have that show. But then again, honestly, me personally, I wasn't watching the shows like that because I really didn't care for a lot of the content I was seeing and stuff like that. I think there was a big there's a with the Gospel Awards, there was a lot of you know controversy, like who won the
Yes.
Gospel Awards. It's like, really. So I mean, into a sense, if you're not really putting on something that I really want to see, I'm not watching it. You know, and then they should show the same thing over and over again. You can never say you missed it because they're always gonna repeat it like a good 100
Mm-hmm.
times.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes a money thing too. But we just hate to see our institutions gone. That's why I think we need to stay. It's a good reason why we need to keep things to ourselves and whatnot. What should have been, what nobody thought about at the time, is that in the agreement is okay if once you partner up with somebody, if they decide to want to be like, all right, we're gonna just abandon this, that you should be in the contract that I get this back, or this I get the licensing, I get my rights back. I can keep this going moving forward, as opposed to just being gone. Stuff like you can continue on, but that's not the case, and this is where we're at right now.
Oh my gosh. There's so many different things you touched on, Brother Ainsley, that came to mind um, while you were talking. Pastor Jeff, what do you think about this whole selling of it after you've worked hard to build this up for the culture? You sell it outside the culture, and now the changes that are being made is to fit another, I can't even really say culture, but another side of the fence.
It comes down to dollars and cents. And we a lot of us promoting things like we're really for the people and it's for the culture, but when it really comes down to it, it's about the money, and we really don't know what's going on, whether it's really producing the money or not, and opportunity to sell it to get more money. you know can you really blame for doing it? Because a lot of people is, oh, yeah, you shouldn't. It's for the culture, but they're not really supporting it. And I know I wasn't really supporting it because I didn't like the content. I didn't like, it just like the gospel thing, you know, that I believe Ainsley talked about. That how they who won. Look what they doing. They you know look at Kirk Franklin. Look at it's just a mess to me now, all of it. But it's about the money, and can you blame folks for selling it? And the other side got the money. You know, I don't know.
Ugh. Pastor KL.
All right. So while I just said about 20 minutes ago that I know people, I don't know who the hell these people are. I have no clue. No clue.
Okay,
I don't
wait.
know the I don't know the Fat Man. I don't know who these folks are. But
Wait, see, this is what I said. Oh gosh, when I was getting ready to pull you up. All right, so Fat Joe. So you never heard of Big Pun, the rapper?
no, I don't do rap. I'm sorry. I know Rappers Delight. You know them? Rappers Delight?
I know rappers delay, and ain't nobody going back that far. Okay,
That's all I know. That's all I know.
we're not
It's
going back
Rappers
to the 70s and the 80s. Okay, listen.
Delight.
You had Big Pun, who was a rapper from the Bronx, who Fat Joe was pretty much like his protege. Big Pun passed, and Fat Joe been doing it, been successful. You have Jadakiss, who was part of the Locks, was a rap group that was managed by Rough Riders. You know Rough Riders?
No, I'm sorry.
You know DMX?
I know Motown and Epic.
Listen, do you know DMX?
Who?
DMX.
Yeah, I know DMX. Okay.
Oh, I'm about to say, I'm about to take your box off. All right. So, DMX was part of the Rough Riders.
Okay.
This Jadakiss was part of the Rough Riders. Then him and his other bandmates were part of the Rough Riders. So now these two have teamed up to do a podcast. So Fat Joe, for the past 3 years, has been hosting the BET Hip Hop Awards. But now, especially feel some type of way, not only from a cultural standpoint, but from a job standpoint. Because now you just stripped him of his job. So now, needless to say, there will be no hip hop awards, no job for you to hold the hip hop awards. So now you have this whole justification process that he's blaming him. That now the people with the money are in to replace the people who don't have the money. But it's not always that the people who don't have the money, it's that for whatever reason. But this here, BET, was a network, was an organization that was built by a black person to highlight the black culture and recognize it, but you now sold it to people on the opposite side of the fence. And now they're stripping it of things that highlight the culture it was originally founded to highlight. So now that you got the Black History lesson, what do you think?
Well, I thank you for the education. I think that I think that he saved his losses. You know, from a business standpoint, forget about it from a rapper or who you are standpoint. You know, listen, you know how many times people would tell me, hey, Pastor KL, if you start a church, we coming. We gonna support you. You open up your church, there ain't no Negroes in the seats. You still got to pay the rent. You still got to pay the power bill. You still got to do all this stuff. These folks will say they're on your side, and then when you get yourself all the way out there, there's no one supporting you. You know, I don't know who these people are, but I hear my colleagues talk about they don't even want to see the show, and these are people who are in the arts. They don't even want to see it. So you could understand that they not making no money. So he's trying to get his money before he don't get no money at all. And to me, once I sell it, if I sell my house, I don't care what you do with the house. I don't sold it already.
Now, for my understanding, this is making me want to do a little more research and ask Pastor Steph if she can come back and revisit this. But I remember watching BET from when it first started, from when what's his name, the one with the pretty eyes? Oh my goodness, when he was hosting the video countdown, and you had to call in and pay.
Donnie Simpson.
Yes, Donnie Simpson. Thank you, Brother Ainsley. You had to call in and pay to watch the videos that you wanted to watch. And even though I called in, because I remember I got in trouble because I was at my grandmother's house and called me 4 times. Just because I called in and each phone call paid, it didn't mean that they were going to play the video. You had to have a certain amount of calls in order for the video to be eligible for them to play. And I think each call was like $4 or something like that. That's how they were able to build their money, up to where they just played all the popular videos. It wasn't like a call on demand type of thing, a call of action type of thing. So I remember watching it from that start to where now you have the BET Awards, to where you have Black A-lister entertainers attending, participating, performing, so on and so forth. I think one of the biggest decline was when Jay-Z and Beyonce publicly made it known that they were not going to attend anymore. Mainly because it was too hood for them. Now, considering you were only able to pay for your studio sessions by selling crack, I don't understand how this was too ghetto for you. That's just my thinking. And considering Beyonce, as hard as you try to be hood now, so you left the hood award show and got so involved in the AMAs and the VMAs and the pop, but yeah, you tried to be hood. You tried to have this hood persona that you sucked at. So you want to capitalize off the hood, but you don't want to be a part of the hood. And I think because everyone of followers, as much as people love to say I'm an adult, everyone loves to follow. That was, in my opinion, from what I've witnessed and paid attention to, that was the start of the decline. But I think that was post Robert Johnson even selling it. But now, of course, if you done sold it to the other side of the fence, and now you got two people who have this type of status saying that they're leaving this platform and they're going over there, now where you think the attention and the money is going to go? Is going to go over there. So I don't know. One of you gentlemen brought up, well, why did he sell about all that? For me, it's something about just letting it be known and taking a stance when it comes to this side of the fence that we can have and we can maintain. You knew that you was going to get old. You knew that you were going to get at some point tired of being a daily operations operator, manager. So whether you groomed someone else to assist you or whatever, but to now build it up to this, you knew once you sold it to the other side of the fence that it was not going to uphold the culture. Like, it's hard for us to uphold the culture half the time.
Well, here's another point. Here's another point of view looking at it, right? Yeah, you could. It's easy to say that, but like you gotta figure to head that it takes a certain type of individual, certain kind of management, leadership, organizational skills, and then like your everyday guy, so to speak, a person, male or female, to be able to do that. And look at it this way, like I don't know if y'all remember, Ebony Jet, there's another Bob Johnson. They was like the foremost black news and whatnot. Every week, the Jet magazine. I mean, I used to take to see, they had the Jet Beauty of the Week and stuff like that. And, black owned, started from nothing, $1 million and whatnot. And he didn't sell it to the other side. He left it in charge with family, other people and whatnot. So they won't go to a side of the fence. But guess what happens? Oh, give it 15, 20 years. Do you see Jet magazine around anymore? Do you see Ebony magazine around anymore? It's just, they could say, okay, it's the other side of the fence, but this is our own. This is our people. This is our own stuff. And I used to get the Jet magazine, but it ain't here no more. You know what I'm saying? So, it's easy to say, yeah, the other side of the fence, but we can do it to ourselves as well.
Absolutely. That's it's hard for us to trust that we're gonna uphold. If you built this and now you sell it to someone else who's on the same side of the fence, you still have to make sure you can entrust them to uphold the values, the standards, and the mission. That's just like passing down a church. We have pastors on here. Would you just pass your church on down to anyone? I mean, you're supposed to get the leading from the Lord anyway. But even in your own mind, like, would you just pass the church down to somebody, just because, okay, I'm tired, or they're going to sell me the church, or I could sell them the church, or whatever the case may be, because you understand the value, or you should understand the value of the church. So I don't know, that just kind of threw me. But I would love to get you gentlemen's take on this fatal stabbing that this 24-year-old young man stabbed his 58-year-old father. I think his father was 58. Yes, his 58-year-old father, who was a Rutgers Harlem legend. Pastor KL, do you know who Rucker is?
Yeah, I used to be a basketball star. Me and Al. So yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So he never made it to the NBA, but he was the neighborhood star. And unfortunately, last month this took place. His 24-year-old son, they didn't say why. They didn't state if they were arguing or anything like that. But his son stabbed him in the neck in their NYCHA apartment out in Washington Heights. And they were stating how he had to have been trying to get multiple neighbors to open the door to help him because there was blood everywhere, not just the trail on the floor from the apartment to the sidewalk outside where he collapsed. And there was a 75-year-old neighbor who said that she knows what it is to be shot. So, because of fear for her life, she did not open the door and intentionally left him out in the hallway. And then in the next morning, I guess she went out into the hallway and saw that there was blood everywhere. So, really quickly, before I get you gentlemen intake, we have a couple of comments. Tevin says she probably don't know how it feels. She probably got shot in the foot. Okay, and Kenny says that was horrible. No one answered the door for him. Okay, we have a check-in from Serge. Good morning, Serge. How are you? How are you? So, Brother Al, are you able to speak? Brother Al is creeping through the hallways of the school. Okay, Pastor Jeff.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on this? This man gets stabbed by his son in the neck. So 9 times out of 10, you're gonna bleed out. And he's running for help. No one is opening the door for him. He's able to make his way outside, collapses outside, gets rushed to Harlem Hospital where he undergoes emergency surgery, and then 2 weeks later he passes, and then comes to find out there was a neighbor who could have helped, but she chose not to because of her past trauma. And she could have possibly, been able to aid him in some way, even if she didn't let him come in. But what's your take on this?
Well, it was a NYCHA building, right? A NYCHA building. Right?
Yes, a NYCHA building.
Okay, and it's a lot of stuff going on in those buildings, and it was a woman, and can you really blame her for not opening up the door? Because she's scared, and all that going on. She don't know whether they got a knife to this man's throat to try to get in her place. So you couldn't really blame her, but she could have called the ambulance and called somebody if she didn't. That's what she could have done. But I wouldn't advise my wife to open up the door.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I was discussing that recently, and then I was like, I would be I'll be looking at him through the glass. Like, all right, I'll call the ambulance. I'm not opening this door. I'm not putting my family in danger like that. I'm not opening the door.
Right. Brother Ainsley, what are your takes on this? Do you think, not just her, she's just the neighbor who spoke out about not helping. But I'm pretty sure there were other neighbors who heard him knocking, or if he was screaming, or felt him trying to turn their doorknob because they're saying there was blood all over doorknobs and elevator buttons and everything. So what are your thoughts on this? Like, I'm hearing someone in distress and I'm not opening my door.
This happened in Harlem. It's the same thing no matter where you're at. Brooklyn, Queens. I'm like, Pastor Jeff. I'm like, I ain't opening that door because you don't know what's going to happen on the other side, what's going on. I don't know if anybody ever been in that kind of situation. I mean, I recall being somewhere and somebody was getting pretty much stabbed up right outside the door. And I ain't gonna open up the door and help them because I don't know all what's intel, who's attacking them and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's almost a self-preservation. I'm sorry, this is happening. But I ain't opening that door. And a woman too, you don't know what's going on. I mean, that's almost like common sense. You hate to say it, But unless I don't see any situation where somebody would open a door like that. Unless you can really see what's really going on, all angles and stuff like that. It's unfortunate, but nah, ain't nobody gonna open up that door. So with common sense.
Okay. Oh goodness, Pastor KO.
Well,
you open the door?
I got two stances on it because the spiritual and the natural war against each other all the time. So from a natural aspect, no, I'm not playing Captain Save a Hoe. You got to take one for the team. Whatever happened with you in that house, that's on you. From a spiritual aspect, I take it from what you said earlier. At some point, the blood is on your hands because you have the ability to help, and you decide to do nothing out of fear, false evidence appearing real. God has not given us the spirit of fear. So out of that, you was already out of order spiritually. Now, naturally, I understand, but yeah, I wouldn't have I would at least call. I'd have called the police. Hey, somebody outside bleeding. You need to get here now. Your fear could not have locked you in so bad that you can't even call. Really? All right.
Yes, and to say you woke up the next morning, probably most likely because you were curious and opened the door and you saw it look like Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the hallway. Ridiculous. Brother Al, what's your take on it?
Oh yeah, I'm hearing everybody, and I had to tell Pastor KL, the spirit did kick in, the spirit of discernment. The spirit of discernment said, I don't know what's going on the other side of that door. I better be smart. But I agree with the brothers, man. Like, why would I open the door? I don't know what's going on. It's just like they teach us at the school. We taking a kid in the classroom and we seeing tables and chairs turned over. You gotta assess the scene. Now, definitely, I don't call somebody. I'm looking to see, okay, you know what? Let me get police on there because that peephole ain't but so big. So I'm not opening the door, but I'm gonna look out there and see what's going on, and then I'm gonna call for some help. But open the door and trying to grab you and to help you, I don't know what else is going on. I see blood. Have you been shot? And then also, like you said, this lady been shot. So I'm quite sure she got a flashback. So I'm hey, listen, I don't know if somebody's still out there trying to stab him or shoot him, but you know what? I will call for help. I'll do that.
Absolutely, and I agree as well. Especially with not only you're a woman, you're an elderly woman, and you've suffered something traumatically. I think all of you gentlemen stated, and I completely agree, there was still something that you could have done. Something. Even if it was, like I said, you threw a towel and, somehow you was able to throw the towel out or call, the cops. And I'm pretty sure maybe if you had another neighbor's number and like, all right, we all need to flood these 911 dispatchers. Like, we don't know what's going on. Listen, night your doors are thick. So even if you kept your door closed and locked, you were good. The attacker could have heard you on the other side of that door talking to the cops. It wouldn't have been but so much that they could do, or they would have had time to do to you on the opposite side of that night your locked door. But it's really sad that Pastor KL highlighted a lot, all this fear, and I wrote the acronym down: false evidence appearing real. All this fear that crippled you from being able to do anything. And again, with you saying you know what it is to be shot, then you know what it is to need help. You know what it is to need some type of assistance. So without having to know how she got shot, why she got shot, how quick she was able to be rushed to the hospital, did she almost hit death, did they bring her back from life to life, and all of that, we don't have to know that. We know that you needed help by you telling us you've been wounded before. So that's just really, really sad. But what's not even sadder, in addition to that, you have this 24-year-old who may be facing life in prison because of what he did to his father. Again, they didn't state what caused him to stab his father in the neck. Like I don't think there's any real good reason, but they didn't have any, any statements on that. But again, they stated that he was outside demanding that the cops help him get back into his apartment, the same apartment where he stabbed his father. And of course, immediately they flock into mental illness. I mean, you're all sick in the head when you stab someone in an apartment. Now you ask for the cops to help you get into that same apartment. Like, they're not gonna find out you're the one who killed your father.
There's something else going on with that, man. Because I'm not familiar with this, but look, any real man know your child don't just come, as angry as your kid can be at you, and man, child might gonna try to stab you in the head. Something else was going on with that for the child to rise up against his father like that. There's some other issues going on there, and
so you think there's something? You think there was something going on that provoked the son to do that? Like the father did something to provoke?
Yeah, I would dare say so. It's not natural for a kid to go against their parent like that. That sometimes it could be a trigger. Something's been going on, neglect, abuse, and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not quick. You definitely gotta, you gotta face the judgment for his actions. But I'm saying, to me, I'm not quick to say, oh, it's just he just kill her and stuff like that. To me, I would think there's something else got to go on there's something going on between the father and him. We don't know. The fact that we don't know nothing, I can't speculate on it. It's just a bad situation. So I say, oh, it's just the kid's fault. I would think the father had something to do with it, unfortunately.
Okay. Pastor Jeff, do you think that this could be a situation where the father could have done something to provoke his son into stabbing him in the neck? Or could this have been something where, as they say in the streets, the son just started tweaking, like just bugged out and did this?
I mean, it's so much with that. It could have been, but you've seen a lot of this lately. These kids killing their parents. Just I don't know, the mental illness, snapping, that entitlement that these kids are feeling because we done spoiled them so badly. And then they, as soon as you take something from them, they phone. Because I know a guy, he took his daughter's phone and she went berserk on him, and he took it because he saw her looking at her having sex with some, I guess, older guy on the phone. And when he snatched the phone from her, she went berserk on him, and he ended up getting arrested. I was talking with him behind taking her phone, and she beat him up, scratched him all up, So I don't know. It's a lot of things with that.
Oh my goodness. Brother Al, you're in the schools, you're dealing with these children and their parents. Do you think this could have been something where the father provoked his son into doing this, or could this have been something where the son just started going crazy?
I would say there probably some some long time issues going on between him and dad. I don't think that, he just decided, oh, today I'm gonna stab my father. You know what I'm saying? I think there was some long time issues going on, and it just went overboard. Because again, we get to the point where people say, "Oh, mental illness." How about he just a bad kid? He did something bad, and Pastor Jeff is right. I've seen it in the school too. We had a girl just kept being on phone. Her grandfather came up because the mother couldn't. And he was like, you know what, give me a phone. And he took the phone and she actually started fighting her grandfather. So again, we are creating the monsters by, like Pastor Jeff said, spoiling our kids. Letting them get away with stuff, buying them anything they want. And then when that don't happen, they feel, hey, you supposed to do this. Why you know what, you gonna do that? Okay, I'm gonna do this. So, my kids are grown and they already know, you raise your hand if you want to. It's like Biggie Small, there'd be a lot of slow singing and flower bringing.
Oh, goodness. Pastor Kale, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so do you think this was a situation where the father could have provoked his son to doing something that's heinous? Is that the word?
I don't know that it was, provoked I would say that some of these children believe, they're privileged and things are just supposed to happen. And I think as he got older, the child, he started smelling himself. And when your son and the dad think that they're on equal plane because I'm a man, there's a problem. You can't be a man in my house. I'm the man in the house. I'm the alpha. In any pack that you look at, whether it be the lions, the dogs, the cats, the rats, there is an alpha, and you have to respect the alpha. Once you don't respect the alpha, it's time for you to go. So even a no for someone who wants to be the alpha, it's a provoke. So yeah, I think that's the problem.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Due Time Crew, for being on with us this morning. Thank you so much for helping us to enter, what does Pastor Steph say, into such a thought-provoking weekend. And praying that you gentlemen have a blessed day. Thank y'all. This was a great conversation. I'm going to ask Steph if we can come back to this Black actors thing. And that was good. That was good. But thank you. Have a great day, gentlemen.
All right.
Hey, I got a PSA for all you folks that's in New York. I will be in New York tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
Word?
Right. Hit me.
All right,
I'll be calling you. Yeah.
Learn the
I'm in New York, bro.
Okay.
Hit me up.
So I can quiz you when you get to New York.
All right.
All right. Have a great day.
All right, you too.
Thank you. Oh, man. I wanted to, as I was able to speak with the Due Time Crew in regards to, could this have been something? I mean, there's nothing that should ever provoke us, whether you're a child or an adult child. Nothing should ever provoke you to want to attack your parent. And the opposite way as well, because as it was stated, we've been hearing a lot about these children killing their parents. We've been hearing a whole lot about these parents killing their children. But a verse came to mind that God has ensured that we've been studying, and it's the title for the chapter is "Difficult Times Will Come." And 2 Timothy 3 verse 2 says, "For people will be lovers of self, narcissistic, self-focused, lovers of money, impelled by greed, boastful, arrogant, revelers, disobedient to parents, unprovoked." You will be unprovoked and be disobedient to parents. Why? Because in these difficult times that will come, and I believe Paul wrote this, right? Paul wrote this, that the writer, so I get confirmation, the writer was writing about was pretty much, it goes back to Romans 1:18 through 33, where God speaks on ignoring me will lead you to a reprobate mind. It will have your mind go into a downward spiral. So because people will want to hear things that are more tantalizing to the ear than sound doctrine from God, these are the results. You will just be straight out disobedient to your parents. And I'm watching you, whether they're a kid or an adult kid. Most people are just straight up disrespectful. Your parent can do everything. Your parent can be a parent who's negligent. But overall, it's like no regard, no respect. The kids are telling their parents what they going to do, not going to do, what they're going to go to school, what they're not going to go to school, if they're going to go to church now. It's just too much. It's too much. And to think that, again, I always say, because the Holy Spirit revealed this to me a while ago, we are no different than the pedophile, than the murderer, than the rapist, it's just that we have not acted on the thoughts. Some of us have thoughts of forcing someone into sex. Some of us have thoughts of engaging in sexual acts with a minor. Some of us have thoughts. And you know how many times I've sat and I've stared at the back of someone's head and I'm like, I wonder how hard I could take something and just smack the back of their neck. And I'm like, whoa, why am I thinking that? But there's been a few times I've stared at their neck and stared at that object and looked at their neck and looked at that object. And the only thing that separated me from a Lamont, what was his name? A Lamont Oliphant, that's the name of the son, was that I did not act on those actions. And I give all of that credit and glory to God, because he is the only one who teaches us and helps us to have self-control. Because I done looked at someone who I felt deserved it. You deserve for this brick to meet the back of your neck. And whatever happens after that happens. That was my mindset at the time, in that very moment. And only because God was like, hold it. And I chose to listen to that feeling. I didn't hit override, because we still have our part that we need to play. That's the only reason why I'm not sitting in an orange jumpsuit looking at the camera like, what did I do? How many times can you pay? Let me say something. My mother can get on nerves that she invents. You know, people say, you get on my last nerves. She invents nerves for me to have so that she can get on. It's like amazing a lot of the times. Like, where did that nerve come from? I don't know, but you're on it. You're on it. You're on it, ma'am. It's, and her and I can go at it. But because of the love God has ensured that I always have for my mother, even when we argue, especially now, I feel so capped, meaning I understand the limits. Sometimes it's hard to shut up. Some people have problems talking. I got problems shutting up. Sometimes it's hard to shut up. But remembering that even though I'm an adult, I'm still her child. And I'm still blessed to have my mother living and breathing and in her right mind, and that she's able to pray for me, because her prayers plays a huge role as to why I'm not as worse as I could, should, and would be if God did not put it on her heart to petition for me. So I say all of that to say difficult times will come, and we're all going to have to face the difficult times. But if we keep our focus on Jesus, if you missed the Word Prayer Project this past Sunday, go back and listen, because that was the prayer topic. Fixing your eyes on Jesus. If we fix our eyes on Jesus, and I'm not only ministering to you, I'm ministering to myself. If we fix our eyes on Jesus, when these difficult times come, we will be able to combat them. Pastor KO speaks about it all the time. How growing up, he used to always say, I hate my father, I hate my father, I hate my nerves, I hate my mother, thoughts of I want to kill. No teenager has ever gone through a teenage year not feeling like, if I could just kick this lady down some steps. And that's when we know they were doing a good job for the most part, because they were getting on our nerves because they were trying to keep us in check. And we don't want to be checked. Who wants to be checked as a teenager? No teenager wants to be checked. But you feel like you're grown, you want to do what you want to do. But it's because of the Lord having his hand on you. It's because Jesus stands in between you and that decision. That is the only difference in you and somebody else wearing that orange jumpsuit. So make sure you make the conscious decision of making a switch from focusing on your own thoughts and your own intentions, your own plans and your own desires, and handing that over. You know, I was watching something that someone sent me last night, and this is real. Like, I knew it was real, but this is real, y'all. Like, I was feeling it last night. Like, I was feeling like I had to reach out to a couple of people and ask them for prayer, because, and I'm asking you, faithful due time viewers, pray for me, please, because I'm feeling the urge and the desire and the fire under my butt, literally, to aspire for more in God, whether it's career driven, socially driven, romantically driven, every part of my life. Like, God, I want that healthy Christian marriage. God, I want those healthy Christian careers, because God has blessed me with the ability to have multiple careers, not just one. God, I want those healthy friendships. God, I want to be able to be in those healthy social climates and areas and settings, and you be able to trust me to be in certain settings that the average Christian wouldn't be, but because you're entrusting me to minister on your behalf, Jesus, I'm able to be in those rooms. Open those doors for me, close those doors for me, just help me to display the self-control. I keep asking you to take this certain thing away from me, but is this the thorn you're leaving in my side? because you need me to stay humble, because you need me to remember it's not my strength, it's your strength. I feel like I'm about to cry. But it's difficult times will come. And as I'm feeling the urge to do that, I'm feeling my flesh pulling me down, and I feel the enemy playing on my flesh. Again, the enemy cannot do anything we do not open the door for him to do. The enemy cannot play on anything we do not show him that he can play on. This is why we have to be very careful of what we say out loud and what we do out loud, because that's how he studies us. He cannot get into our minds. I could be thinking something right now, he don't know what I'm thinking. But if he studies my movements, which he does, if he studies my words, which he does, if he studies my decisions, which he does, that's how he can help us get tripped up. That's not how he trips us up, because we still make the final decision. Us, not him. Okay, so when you feel those difficult times approaching, get on your hands and knees. Don't ignore the leading of the Holy Spirit to spend more time with him. I have to admit, that's what I was doing the past few nights. I have my own plans. Well, let me clean this. Let me focus on this. Let me finish this. Let me do that. And I felt the Holy Spirit like, I need you to wind down, though. Wind down for the night. And I'm still hitting over. Okay, I'm going to do it in an hour. I was doing it in an hour. And that could have been the very thing that I needed. So when I hit the feeling I hit last night, I wouldn't have been so jacked up and discombobulated. This is real, y'all. Those who feel like you don't need church, those who feel like you don't need to be around like-minded people, those who feel like you know it all. You don't know nothing. You don't know anything. One of the things I always ask God is, please correct and confirm me. If I'm right, let me know that I'm right, so I don't talk myself out of being right. If I'm wrong, please let me know that I'm wrong, so that I can stay at your feet to be corrected. That's called humility. It's a learned behavior, but it is worth it, because I'm watching people say things to me and they're trying to talk me out of certain things that God is saying to me. And I'm just like, y'all don't even know I'm dealing with my own flesh. I don't need you in my ear. Like Pastor Steph says, gremlins, gremlins, gremlins. I don't need you in my ear saying things, because you don't even know in my alone time, I'm going back to God. Like, God, remind me again why I'm not supposed to be doing that. Remind me again why I should be doing this. Remind me again why I shouldn't be saying that. We have our own battles without being in each other's ear, y'all. Difficult times will come. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to be sitting in nobody's courtroom with a orange jumpsuit, with that being my snapshot on the shade room, because I done started tweaking and wasn't tapped into the Holy Spirit. And now I hit override and did something that made sense to me. Because that's what happened with this 24-year-old. It made sense to him for him to stab his father in the neck for whatever reason. Whether he felt provoked, justified or not, that's the decision he made, and that's the decision he's going to have to live with. So let's make sure that we're paying attention to the difficult times that God is saying will come. But what will make us different than everybody else is that God will help us walk right through those difficult times. We may feel some things, but we ain't going to feel it like we would feel it, nowhere near like we would feel it if we stop focusing on Jesus. Okay, you've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Make sure you join us right here live on Facebook, Cultural Christian page, Facebook page, YouTube, Closer Media Network, YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you tune in every Monday through Friday morning, 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so you can be on with us throughout the week. God is making sure these questions, the news content, the conversations are more thought and action provoking. We talk about being provoked. He's trying to rethink things, as Pastor Steph always reminds us. Okay, make sure you focus on things that are above, not on things on the earth, because they will only serve as a distraction, and you'll end up in that orange jumpsuit, whether literally or figuratively. Either way, I want no parts. Make sure you are here with us, God Spares Sunday night, for the Word Prayer Project. Make sure you contact Pastor Steph. Let her know you miss her. Let her know you're thinking about her, and we're praying that she travels back home safely. Until we get back, God willing, Sunday night, or if we're not on Sunday night, we will be back here Monday morning for Shaking the Monday Morning Blues, y'all. I don't know about y'all, but after such a relaxing and or intense weekend, I've been needing that. Okay, so make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell. Make sure you tune in. Go back and watch every It's due time this week because the topics and the conversations were real. But until then, until Sunday or Monday morning, I love you. Have a great weekend.